There we go. Holy crap. Okay. Man, do you ever have enough stuff going on to where you're like, what's happening? Where am I going? What am I looking at? Which monitor is on here and everything? Welcome back to H&V, everybody. Man, I did not plan on doing this as a review, doing it as a live stream. I don't know how long I'm going to be with it, but I needed to talk about Ari Aster's new film, Eddington. It's funny. Like I said, I was not planning on seeing this thing at all. I was like, why would I want to go and listen to Hollywood lecture me for what I would imagine would be about 2.5 hours just to see how bad COVID was 5 years ago? Is that what I really want to do with my time? And give me 1 second here. I want to make sure I got all my stuff right. How's the audio sounding if you're out there? Okay, we're doing the road chat, so that should be good. All right. I'm so worried about the stream actually having the audio that's coming from the monitor and not from the $300 microphone that's in my face. It's always a little bit scary going, which one's it going to be? Because when you go back and listen, it's like, oh, that looks and sounds like ass. But I think we're doing okay. But anyway, so I went out and I perused the internet as I am oft wont to do. I wasn't planning on seeing Eddington. I thought maybe I might go see the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer kind of remake-y sort of deal, whatever we're calling that. I thought I might go see that, but I didn't because I saw this TikTok and it made me actually want to go see this movie. So I'm going to play the actual TikTok that inspired this run to the movie theater this weekend, again, which I was not planning on doing. But this guy made me think differently about this movie. This guy made me, it kind of opened up my world. All right, oh my God. Why it starts at this level, fucking, what's the name of this thing here?
An old centrist friend who thinks they're smarter than everyone else. I think I just watched their new favorite movie. And
it is right there, actually, that he got me. Like, I don't think I actually initially watched further than that. Basically, his thought was, hey, if this is a wildly centrist movie, color me surprised. I was like, oh, this is a centrist movie? Let's go. I was surprised because let's be honest, who thought a movie about, the COVID times and stuff like that wouldn't just be a wild, crazy mouthpiece for Hollywood? That's what I would certainly think. That's what I thought this movie was going to be. But when this homeboy came out and said, hey, man, this is a centrist wild dream, I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Let's see what the man has to say.
Of course, I'm talking about Ari Aster's Eddington. This movie is juvenile, shallow, and sickeningly smug in the way it approaches the topics it pretends to deal with.
Oh my God. Does that not make you want to actually go watch this movie now? That gets me excited. When I hear somebody give that poor review to something that you can tell something in this movie got his craw. And I was like, dude, I gotta go see this movie. This cat right here, who I'm calling Real Bad Takes. Yeah, I'm putting the bad in there because your takes are bad. Once he gave this take, dude, I was like, I am on board, baby. I don't know. Do I want to go through the rest of it, or do I want to actually put it? All right, let's go through, and then we'll kind of get into my review, and then we'll kind of jump back and forth.
Eddington is social satire set in New Mexico in 2020 that sort of morphs into a dollar store Coen Brothers movie.
When have the Coen Brothers made when's their last good movie been? It's been a minute. Been a minute, hasn't it? We need somebody to take up that little reign that's doing that kind of modern Western and everything here, which this indeed is. Let's let's go on.
Joaquin Phoenix is Joe Cross. He is a freedom-loving sheriff in a small town called Eddington. This is a man who cannot be inconvenienced to wear a mask in his own community.
Inconvenienced. Isn't it ironic that 5 years later, he looks back at this and says, wouldn't it, the inconvenience? Very curious. It's so curious as to the movie that this guy saw and how I think your reality and your perception of what went on in 2020. Oh boy, let's go.
But you know, deep down at heart, he's a good guy. He shows a lot of kindness to various people in the town. In his heart, he seems to care about the good intentions of the town as compared to the one-note caricature of a mayor, Ted Garcia.
Oh, you mean because why? What do you care? What do you mean one note? Again, is the one note because he didn't act in the way that you wanted him to act? What did you want his character to do in this? We're gonna go on.
Played by Pedro Pascal. Ted kind of plays like this hollow shell of a performative, corrupt liberal who has run this small town into the ground with his mask mandate, etc. I'm gonna start.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into this, I'm going to try to remember where this is at here because I want to go into the actual thing itself here. Let's get into this and do. Oh God damn it. We'll have to figure this out in just a second here, but let's do the IMDb because I want to get into this proper. Here's the IMDb for Eddington. As we all know, IMDb 100% correct in everything they say and or do. In May of 2020, a standoff between a small town sheriff and a mayor sparks a powder keg as neighbor pitted against neighbor in Eddington, New Mexico. This is written and directed by Ari Aster, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, Michael Ward. You got Luke Grimes, Clifton Collins Jr. Of course, we also got Austin Butler and stuff in there and many more. Like I said, this was not a movie that I was particularly interested in going to see. I didn't want to be lectured by Hollywood about how, COVID, and we all, anyone who wasn't doing what they were supposed to do was an evil and bad person. And that is not what this movie is. I was shocked and just wowed by how this movie went beyond my expectations. I've seen all of Ari Aster's other films in the theater and everything. I heard Hereditary was insane and went and saw it. And I was like, wow, that really lived up to the hype and everything. Then Midsommar came out and was different and weird and lovely. It wasn't what people were kind of expecting. Then we had Beau Was Afraid, and Beau Was Afraid, listen, it was long, it was crazy, it was a hell of a journey. It was like, dripping into a fever dream. It was insane. But I understand why a lot of people would not like that movie. There's a lot of stuff in there that if you're not ready for that like weird Ari Aster stuff that he's throwing at you, you're not going to dig on that movie, and that's fine. This movie seemed to me like the least of those types of movies, in as much as it's separated from any kind of genre-y sort of thing that we've seen from him in the past. He's not doing horror movies, and I think that upsets a lot of horror fans, is that he's not out here just pumping out horror movie after horror movie and that just becoming his thing. And quite frankly, I am very proud of Ari Aster for not going down that route and just doing just horror films. And I like horror films. I fucking love horror movies, but I don't want to see an artist, if he doesn't want to be, narrowed down to that just one particular path. So I was kind of excited. Like I said, I wasn't excited. I wasn't excited for this at all until that TikTok and everything, because this guy, I was just like, what could this possibly be? Because I never saw a trailer. I maybe saw a couple of seconds here and there of something, but I had no really want or need to watch this movie at all. But man, oh man, am I so glad that I did, because that Ari Aster stank is on this in the best of ways. This movie will not be liked by people. Some people will, and I'm not going to go into major spoilers here with anything, because I think this is a movie that I frankly, certainly from the beginning of it, I did not think this is how this movie is going to end. lot like other Ari Aster movies and everything, it's not going to go down that traditional path that you think this movie is going to go down. Is it as wild and crazy as some of those other films? No, but in some ways it's got a couple of parallels. There's some wild and crazy things that happen in this movie, and I think one of the big reasons that a lot of people, particularly people that were, let's be frank, on the left, have a problem with is that a mirror is being placed up and shown to you. And let's be honest, a lot of folks don't like looking back in a mirror, especially when that mirror is 60 feet wide and is showing you events in your life that only took place 5 years ago. Now, if you look back 5 years ago and you might regret some of your actions, you might regret some of your thoughts and feelings and how you treated other people, this movie might bother you. This movie might bother you if you were a hypocrite in any amount of these times. You see a lot of hypocrites within this actual movie itself, from both sides. And that's the best part, is because you're not going to watch it. I don't think any normal, sane kind of, to quote this guy, centrist crazy person is going to watch this movie and say, both sides got away scot-free. No. This was, in as much as like we all love how South Park kind of pokes fun at every single person that's out there, this movie does that as well. This movie makes liberals look very bad, and conservative. We'll call them conservatives. I don't know that all people that were necessarily anti whatever were necessarily conservative, because they weren't. They were people were all across the board with everything. But people of this bent and people of that bent, there's a lot of people treated each other very, very poorly. I don't care what side you're on. Some people are going, hey, you're trying to kill other people. Other people were just trying to, restrict people from, going to church or doing things that they actually wanted to do that didn't involve anybody else. There were people out in California that were like, alone at the beach. Like literally there was a dude who was like wakeboarding or whatever, paddleboarding out in the middle of the ocean and everything. And the cops came and got him. It's like, hey, man, you're spreading coronavirus. No, you're not. See, that's a wild and crazy, stupid thing. And hopefully one would look back at some of these excesses and some of these dumb things that we did during that time and are able to do a little self-reflection and think, hey, maybe we didn't handle that perfectly. Maybe everybody was a bit of a jerk. Maybe some people got caught up in stuff and things went a bit awry. None of it's good. None of it's great. It all kind of leads up into this crazy, it's what Ari Aster kind of does, right? He takes this normal sort of situation and everything and will kind of twist it on its head. And really, he ends up showing you a lot of what his particular fears and stuff are. There's definitely a lot of that in Beau is Afraid. There was a fear of what I feel that Ari Aster felt during all of COVID and everything. Was this paranoia? Was this kind of neighbor against neighbor? Was people that come together, that come out with good intentions? Whether it's Phoenix's character, whether it's Pedro Pascal's character, both of them come into their situation wanting to do good. And both of them, in different ways, overstep their boundaries. Listen, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people on the left that will look at this movie and get very upset at a lot of the things that are going on, because it points out a lot of the stupid ass things that we did during this time, or some people did, I'll at least say. There's a scene where Pedro Pascal is yelling at his child because he's the mayor of the town and his child is going out and wants to take the truck around and do whatever, right? And of course, dad doesn't want to do that because the son is a representation of the family and everything. And if you're going out and partying and doing all those fun things, then you're obviously, trying to skirt the rules that we put down. Rules for me, but not for thee. That doesn't sound like anybody out there in government, does it? Does it? Oh, no, we had tons of those cases all during COVID from all sides. Yeah, perfect. It's what happens. Everyone in here is guilty of everything. And I got to say, it was unbelievably refreshing. And from people who were all on board with this, that there's not a person in this movie who didn't take the jab, right? They're arguing what are essentially values that are to the opposite of what they do. They're out there doing it. And I got to be honest with you, Joaquin Phoenix gives a fantastic performance in this. He's a flustered kind of guy. He wants to take, control of his town and everything because there are people there that seem like they're not doing the job that they should. He's got really great intentions. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a plan. he's scared. He wants to do something. He's got like kind of this leader mindset as the sheriff and everything, but unfortunately, he doesn't have what it takes to be a politician, what it takes to kind of run things. And stuff gets out of hand. Again, I'm not going to, spoil anything, but this movie gets to wild and crazy places that you would not figure a movie about COVID, which isn't a movie about COVID. It really isn't. COVID is the backdrop for this movie. This movie is about man's inhumanity against man. It's about looking at, the world around us and being able to look back and go, hey, maybe we made some mistakes. Maybe we all weren't polite and nice to each other when we should have been. In times of bull crap that was going on, we needed to actually come together as people, and we didn't. We went to each other's throats. And what's funny about this movie is, again, hindsight's hilarious because we can look back now, and many of the things that are said by both sides in this movie, there's like, oh, this person's talking about things that were a wild and crazy conspiracy theory. And this is one that sounded like a wild and crazy conspiracy theory at the time, but turns out was absolutely true. A lot of that stuff going on. And then there would be things that were true and not true on both sides and everything, because guess what? Not everybody was right and not everybody was wrong. Are there extenuating circumstances for all these things? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's not as cut and dry as all of that. And that's how a lot of the world wanted to treat it, like it was a cut and dry thing. And it's not. It's not one. I thought this movie was fantastic. I thought there were great performances by everybody. I don't know where anything is going within this entire film. And Emma Stone, I forgot to talk about Emma Stone, or Emily Stone, as she would prefer to be called. I don't think that Emma Stone is doing any normal performances from now on. Not that I'm hating it. I'm not like, I enjoy what she's doing, and she's doing some really weird stuff. But I think she is just like, I don't need any more of these pretty girl roles. I want crazy girl, and just one that's going to be out there and nuts. That's what I think that Emma Stone wants now. Not a huge role in this, but very powerful for what she's doing and stuff. Her relationship with her mom and her mom's relationship with Joaquin Phoenix's character. It shows how the dynamic of things, kind of worked, and the past that she has with maybe Pedro Pascal's character, how that plays out, and how just, jealousy and envy and so many different, I'm telling you, this movie is something that you can sit here and probably watch 5-10 times and come up with different things for it. I think anybody who goes into this and goes, oh, this is childish and this is stupid and it makes fun of all of these things and blah, blah, blah. You don't like a mirror being put to your face. That's the problem. You see people on screen doing things that you yourself did, and frankly, you're probably, or at least you should be, ashamed of some of those things. So I can understand it. I can understand how, you don't want to go and see some of your the highlights of your bad reel up on screen for everybody. I'm fairly certain not everybody wants to see all of your failures on big screens. I wouldn't. You want to show a movie about, the dissolve of my marriage? I don't want to watch that on a big screen. I could only imagine how crazy it would have been if he was a COVID crazy. All right, I'm going to go back to his TikTok here, and we're gonna kind of go over why he's dumb.
A performative, corrupt liberal who has run this small town into the ground with his mask mandate, etc. I'm going to start by saying this movie tries to make the point of, we are so silly we are. Look at the things that we squabble about while the big stuff goes on in the background. See the
Yes. Congratulations. You do understand the film. But again, and I've seen several other things from him on this. He does understand this film. He just doesn't like what it has to say. And specifically, I think what it has to say about the side that he kind of, championed during that time.
Thing is, Ari Aster did not make this movie to try to heal any rifts, because this thing paints every single person on both sides as an absolute caricature.
Where were you 5 years ago? Where were you? We were all caricatures, my guy. Every one of us, you're a caricature right now, quite frankly. So, I mean, that in and of itself is hilarious. But we were all caricatures because we weren't living normal lives. We were all stuck inside due to a government lying to us, essentially.
Signed to provoke. Joe Cross is the only character written with any nuance or depth in this film, and
right, because he's the central character of the story. That's what you normally do. You don't normally spend, an inordinate amount of time with people who don't tend to be the central character of the story.
He is absolutely irredeemable. Emma Stone plays
is he? No. You said it yourself. He's trying to do good. He may not do, he may do some bad things in the movie, and he most assuredly does. Is he irredeemable? I mean, there's a certain point that he crosses within this movie that you could say he's irredeemable. But up until that point, irredeemable. It's about that line. It's about crossing that line. Again, this is what the movie is about, my friend.
Louise Cross, Joe's wife, she is completely wasted in this film. She barely gets anything to do.
I just wanted her to have more screen time. I mean, I guess that's a complaint you can have. You heard me say it. She's not in it all that much. She doesn't have a boatload of things to do. Her character is not the main character. She is a main side character within the story. She has a plot. She has a thing. But I wouldn't say that she has more than 25 minutes screen time, maybe.
Butler plays this mysterious cult leader, Vernon Jefferson Peake. Used a lot in the marketing. He's not really used much in the film.
No, if anything, I would have liked to see him a little bit more in this. Now, granted, like I said, this is a 2.5-hour film, so I don't know that we needed too awful much more. But I would have been curious to see a little bit of kind of that other movie that's kind of going on while this movie's going on, and that's got to do with her, and you would find out when you watch it. But there's almost a whole nother movie going on that we don't even see, which is kind of fun.
At all. He's really just kind of there as this boring one-note statement about how people can prey on others in moments of chaos and uncertainty.
And we didn't have any of that in 2020? There was none of that going on? Again, when people show you things that actually happen and your response is harumph, I'm confused.
Kind of sums up the story of Eddington in general, because as all this little stuff happens throughout the film, there is a larger beast in the background, and that beast is big tech. The film seems to be presenting things like the pandemic and Black Lives Matter as trivial things that get in the way of us seeing the big picture.
No, it doesn't do that. It doesn't do that at all. If that's how you saw this, guess what? You threw in your own biases into this, my friend. It does not say that. I'd love for you to point out where it does, though.
Sure, and turn us against each other. The thing is, it's set in the...
And guess what, bitch? It happened. We did do that. They did do that. It did happen. We were all at each other's throats. Were you not there? Do you not remember it? This happened. Now, did it go to the extreme that happened in this movie? Of course not. It's a movie. It's here to tell us something. It's doing it in that Ari Aster way, which is not the way that most other folks are going to do it. But ugh.
The community of Eddington, where there is no police brutality and there is no COVID. So what the film is able to do is have fun painting their reaction in regards to mask mandates, etc., or to Black Lives Matter protesting as ridiculous.
You see what he's thinking right here? No, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little, since he's got such a great job of kind of predicting how everything is working and everything. I'm gonna do a little bit of a mind reading and tea leaf reading of my own from here. He thinks everyone in this town is a podunk idiot. I think that right now, just by listening to him and how he looks at every single person in this town, he hates this town. This MFer wouldn't be caught in this small ass town.
And absurd. And meanwhile, Joe Cross just kind of painted as this sort of bumbling do-gooder cop who just wants to kind of keep the community safe, let people...
Because that's what he's doing, you dummy. That's what he's doing. And then it gets up to a point and things change. That's how you write movies, man. That's how movies work.
People protest and also just, protect civil liberties if someone doesn't want to wear a mask. That's fine.
Oh my God. Heaven forbid people want to live free. Again, I could understand this argument if it was 2021, right? And you still don't know nothing. You're like a little brand new baby and you're just like, oh my God, COVID's gonna... But we know in 2025, this was bullshit, dude. We've seen it play out at this point.
The thing is, Joe eventually is swung in a direction by this film that is so dramatic and absurd, it's impossible to keep up with this character. It gives you whiplash. You listen,
but that's what's kind of fun about it, is that, again, it's... As much as it's about COVID, it's about a man kind of losing his grip on things, his grip on reality, his grip on his social standing and everything. And again, wanting to be good, but not having quite all the brains to do it either. Now, is that implying that Pedro Pascal's character is smart and has all the brains? Most assuredly not. It's kind of showing how everybody's a bit of incompetent. And I don't know what you know, but have you looked into politics, you know, in your entire life? How often are those people, you know, the creme de la creme? Most of them are just, you know, people that have never done anything with their entire lives except for live off the government teat. And you know, kickbacks from other folks. But, you know, some people are cool with that, I guess.
In Ari Aster speak, one of his main points about this movie is you're supposed to be feeling empathy for this character. You're supposed to try to connect.
And that is one thing, if you were on the left, you most assuredly cannot do. You can't show empathy to other people. The party of sensitivity, for whatever reason, in this guy's house, you can't be sensitive to people that might disagree with you politically. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid we talk with people that are outside of, you know, our own line of thinking.
Thing is, you don't really get that with any other character in the film except for Michael a little bit, played by Michael Ward. Even what they do,
you know, he's gonna listen. He's like, listen, he's the one black character in it, and that's the one I really, really liked. You're predictable, my guy.
With his character is so unbelievably ham-fisted. So you know what? I feel like this.
Is he? He's ham-fisted. He's quiet and silent most of the time. What are you on, my guy?
Film lives and dies by this tagline: hindsight is 20/20.
And yet, for you couldn't see any of it. Yet you could not see any of the things that were clearly put in front of your face that show you some of the hypocrisies and ironies of your actions, or everyone's actions, but specifically your actions, I'm sure, based upon, you know, what I'm kind of putting together here. Okay.
It's a great motto for a lazy, entitled centrist who just wants to say, "I'll remember how performative and ridiculous all those George Floyd protests were."
Do y'all remember those accomplishing anything other than, you know, billions of dollars worth of damage? Did they? I mean, because if you guys know something that happened that I don't, and that led to a good thing, did anybody? No? Okay.
The movie doesn't read like it's coming from someone who was actually out there protesting, because if you were actually out there protesting, you would not be comfortable with the way it's satirized here.
They don't show you anything. What are you talking about satirized? They show you there's George Floyd riots and stuff happening on television. And then there's what's satirized. What's satirized is the response of the liberal white children in town. And I'm sure that had to bug you. This little liberal white kid sitting with his family, talking to them about how, you know, we're on indigenous land and all this other horse shit. And the parent looking right at the child and going, "You're full of shit. You're white. What are you complaining about? What is your problem?" And I get it. I get it. White liberals don't want to have things pointed back out to them. But this is my word, dude. The fact you saw this stuff, and again, you looked in the mirror and it was like, oh no, I don't like what's looking back at me. Ergo, I hate this movie.
He also thinks it's making some type of profound revelation with the idea of, oh, big tech is bad, but also it's a nonpartisan issue.
Where did big tech come in any of this? I don't remember a big tech angle in this. Let's see where he's going.
Break this to Ari Aster, but he's releasing this in a world where big tech is all aligned on one side of the political aisle. You have people like Peter.
Okay.
Peter Thiel pushing it forward. You may not know this, but J.D. Vance, the vice president under the man.
This guy cannot let his own personal politics not play a role in whatever movie he's reviewing. If it has any minuscule amount of a possibility that there's a political slant that's going to be thrown in there, homeboy over here is going to be on it like white on rice. Ugh.
And who you refuse to directly acknowledge in this film is a direct product of Silicon Valley.
You don't acknowledge J.D. Vance in this movie. How dare you, Ari Aster? Get out of here, dog. What is wrong with you?
The movie has some good things to say about isolation, paranoia, anxiety. That makes sense given the place Ari says he was.
There you go. Again, I know he knows what this movie means. He just don't like that it represents his people bad.
In writing this. But the ideas are repetitive, and this runtime at 2.5.
My man's, you got a 4.5 minute review right here that ain't saying too much. So, you know.
Hours is bloated to all hell. Are really good moments, good ideas.
I tell you what, though, it is 2.5 hours, and you know what it never did for me? Dragged. Never dragged. I didn't know what was going on. Like, you know, I didn't know where things were going to end up. But I'll tell you this much. I never looked at my watch. I didn't even have popcorn and a drink in this bad boy. So I didn't even have nothing to keep me entertained, right? I didn't have any snackage going on. I didn't take my eyes off the movie. I can again, I understand why you don't like it, but it's funny.
He has some good jokes, some moments I laughed out loud at. Then it's connected by this pompous, arrogant, holier-than-thou bullshit that I think will leave a bad taste in your mouth.
If you're, a leftist D-bag who thinks that they do nothing wrong. We all do things wrong, and if you don't think you're doing things wrong, guess what? You're wrong right there, so...
This is a moment that we are truly still in. We are still experiencing...
Oh, we're still in a moment of COVID, everybody. 5 years later, we're still in a moment. Do you feel it? Do you feel it right now? Are you scared? Are you scared of COVID right now? Because you should be. Get out of here, dude.
Experiencing the direct effects of all this bullshit. This movie should have been made in 15 or 20 years. So one of the...
You got to do it when it's further away, man. No, we need you to look at yourself right now and maybe adjust your pattern for the next couple of years. Maybe realize that knee-jerk reactions are not a smart thing. Maybe realize that, cloistering people incorrectly is maybe not the best way to go. But hey, who am I? Who am I with 5 years of hindsight?
The most sensitive political moments in American history.
Be you the most sensitive political moment. My word.
When human rights are being violated in America and around.
Here we go. You see how he ties it to everything? MFR cannot review the movie that he's watching. He got to give you some sort of social commentary that ain't worth two spits.
In the world every single day, and you just kind of say, oh, everyone's kind of silly right on.
Okay, all right, listen. All right, okay. Listen, if we're going on this as an argument for how the world needs to work, then we don't need to watch any movies ever. That's how this idiot is thinking. That's precisely the formula that you've just laid down for us, is that, hey, things are going bad in the world, ergo no movie. Shut up.
On both sides. That is fucking embarrassing. It's even more.
You're embarrassing, dude. You're embarrassing yourself with this review. You've made a couple of videos on this as well. Also, very embarrassing for you.
More embarrassing is this will be one of those movies where people will absolutely love it and then tell you you're stupid.
Congratulations, my friend. You've completed your mission.
For not understanding it, or you didn't.
No, but again, I reiterate, you do understand this movie. I've seen enough of your thoughts on it from this video and another video that you've done. I know what your thoughts are, and your thoughts are dumb. It's just like, yeah, you understand the movie, but the problem is that you take it personal because it has some bad things to say that you might have been, accompanied to in 2020.
Just don't get the point. In reality, this has the depth of a puddle. It is centrist slop. It's unnecessary, and I would say watch this one at home.
Ooh, it's centrist slop. Everybody who doesn't agree specifically with me is a complete and utter idiot. Listen, you can disagree with me all you want. As a matter of fact, I encourage you to disagree with me, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fight back, because if I disagree with something that you disagree with and I actually believe that shit, guess what? I'm going to argue it. And I'm also going to call out people when they, are just, political hacks. And that's what this guy is. It's not just this review. It's every single review of everything that I've ever seen from him. He's an absolute and utter hack. I mean, listen, if you want to be a political D-bag who reviews, movies and has your own political slant to it and everything, that's cool in the gang. Do that. But, this like real takes, and your real take is you're really stupid. I get it. You got a big old giant heart, but a penny brain. I understand how that math works sometimes. That's it. I don't know that I'm going to talk too much more. I've been going on for about a half hour here anyways. Listen, I loved Eddington. I thought it was really good. This was not a movie that I was looking forward to in any way, shape, or form, but I am glad to have seen yet another Ari Aster film in theaters, because it's good. Is he doing the same thing that he's always doing? Absolutely not. And you know what? I enjoy that. I enjoy not getting the same slop that I've been given over and over and over again. And if a movie will actually have the guts to reach out and say, hey, maybe I'm going to say something that's against the regular Hollywood narrative, heavens be, grab your pearls and bar the door, because somebody thinks slightly different, or may even just have the idea that maybe someone else has an idea. It's not even telling you that, Joaquin Phoenix's character is correct. And as a matter of fact, it's telling you in many, 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 many ways that he's doing a lot of wrong things. He's just like, homie is just mad that other people have, that he sees himself. A mirror is a real bitch when you're a bad person, I think. I know, because I've been a bad person many a time in my life, and I've looked in the mirror and I ain't like what I see. I'm okay with the guy that's in there right now. I'm still working on him every day. But I got to be honest with you. I like myself a lot more than this guy likes himself. So that's it, everybody. That is my review of Ari Aster's Eddington. I'm going to bed, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking around, and we'll talk to you later. That's the wrong fucking theme, ain't it? Let's do this one.